I hope everybody's ready to eat some food, get some good food in your belly. I know I am. I'm ready to eat. That's what Thanksgiving's all about, right? Is eating. Getting to eat some good food. We're gonna have a laid back Thanksgiving this year. I think we're gonna play it lay low, and we're actually gonna get to stay at home this Thanksgiving. So of course you guys know I was sick last week. My 6-year-old is now sick, so we are laying low this Thanksgiving. We're not doing a whole lot. Let's see who all is on this evening. Don't forget, guys, when y'all get on, drop me a hello. Let me know where you're from. Always like to see where we're reaching out to, how far we're reaching, and I always like to say hello back to you guys. So make sure you say hello when you get on tonight. Like I said, I hope everybody is doing well. I don't know how many we'll have on tonight, being that it's the date or the night before Thanksgiving, but we're going to find out, right? We're going to have our live and we're going to see how many people are on. And if you're traveling, please be safe. If you are watching this from the car while traveling, please make sure you're not driving. A lot of deer hunting going on right now. A lot of guys in the woods. A lot of guys on the lake too. But this weekend is all about family, giving thanks, and remembering what we're thankful for. So, again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Hope you all have a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you fill your bellies full of food. And just don't remember to give thanks to everything that we're thankful for this year. Um, Me personally, right now, I would say I'm thankful for my health because I was not doing real well last week. So definitely feeling better. Glad to be feeling better and glad to be um, talking normal again. So that was the biggest thing. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm still a little nasally, still got a little bit of the congestion going on, but for the most part, getting better. So glad for that. Very thankful for that. And we are hopefully on the mend around here. So anyway, let's see who else on tonight. 922 Crappie, what's going on? He says, what's up, Wired? Dave D, hello, hello. Dave says, happy Thanksgiving. 922, happy Thanksgiving. Southeast Ohio. Todd Pell from Beaver Creek. What's going on, Ohio? What's going on, Todd? Heidi Clark says, hi there, Matt. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. How's Laura and Little Wired? So Laura and Little Wired are doing great. Little Wired has been a little fussy this week. He's got a little bit of fussiness in him, but he's doing great. They're all doing great. Thank you for asking, Heidi. I appreciate it very much. And Laura is doing well also. RVT, what's going on from North Central Kentucky? Ashley Coffee, what's going on, champ? Good evening, Wired fam. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it, buddy. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about the tournament this last weekend. And we're going to talk about some things that I think made me successful in that event and how I eventually was able to win that event, because I did win the East Tennessee Crappie Club tournament this past Saturday. So that was a blast. I was very blessed to win that tournament. There's a lot of really, really, really good anglers in that tournament trail. So not to mention, but the Chattanooga Crappie Club, actually, that's Chickamauga's the only lake they ever fish. Well, their tournament's on. I'm sure some of those guys branch out and fish other lakes, but for the most part, they always fish Chick. And we had a lot of their members, and we had a lot of them participating in the tournament too. So a lot of good fishermen on that body of water, and to be able to come out on top was really, really cool. That was kind of a bonus for me. I was not expecting that, but to be able to pull off a win, it was very, very, very neat, very cool for me. So glad to fish with those guys. Always a blast to fish with everybody, and was glad to pull off that win. So we'll talk about that a little bit tonight. Hello from Lake Chickamauga. What's going on, Daryl from Chick? I just won that tournament down there, like I said, Saturday. So we're going to talk about Chick tonight, Daryl. We're going to talk a lot of things about the Chick. There's my lovely wife, Laura. Guys, happy Thanksgiving, Wired fam. She says, happy Thanksgiving, honey. I hope she's cooking something tomorrow. I'm sure she will be. Let's see. Brandon from Clinton. What's going on, Brandon from Clinton? Jamie Nelson. Hello, all from West Kentucky. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Jamie. Johnny Coops from Ringgold, Georgia. What's going on? Asleep. What's going on, Chris? Happy Thanksgiving. I will have a turkey in the oven and one in the smoker. 24 pounds of turkey. Gobble, gobble, gobble. That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on filling your belly. 24 pounds of turkey. That's a lot of turkey. You're going to be sleeping a lot after that. You eat 24 pounds of turkey, you're going to be like, turkey makes me sleep. I'm not a big turkey guy. I'd rather have ham on Thanksgiving, to be honest with you guys. I know it's a sin, all that good stuff, but hey, give me a brown sugar ham. I'm good to go. I'll eat turkey, but I got to have a lot of gravy on my turkey. It's just, I can't do dry turkey. So I got to have a lot of gravy, a lot of mashed potatoes, green bean casserole. Anyway, it's on tomorrow. It's on like Donkey Kong. Ronnie Harris from Carrollton, Georgia. Happy Thanksgiving, buddy. Rick Haney from Cleveland, Tennessee. What's going on, Rick? Yeah, we're going to talk about the chick here tonight. Y'all might want to stay tuned. Robert Johnson from Southeast Arkansas. Oh, excuse me. It's a hiccup and a burp at the same time. It hurt. Dustin, I'm in New York. Can I catch slab crappie? Yeah, absolutely you can. There's crappie in New York. Absolutely. Or somewhere there around. Let's see. Jeff Johnson, happy Thanksgiving, buddy. Josh Sanders, hello, hello. Larry Merrick, hey, Wired fam, what did you mean at the ramp when you said you fished my spot? I thought you thought I was Josh. Didn't know I had a spot. Hey, Larry, I may know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that said maybe you put some stuff out in Sail Creek. I'm not just going to throw that out there. I'm not going to mention any exact areas, but they said you may have potentially put some stuff out that way. And I was in there some, but I was just messing with you. I didn't fish anything that I knew was yours, but I like messing with guys. You know what I'm saying? Josh Sanders, I like poking. I poked him all week last week, and we'll get into that here in a little bit too. That was pretty funny. Pretty funny if you were on the live last week. All right, David Smith. Hello from Crossville, Tennessee. What's going on, David? Robert Love. Hello, all. Jody Gosaway from Oliver Springs. What's going on, Jody? A lot of people from down Chickamauga tonight. I'm glad you're on the men too, Bubba. Yeah, me too. I'm glad. Hello from Wabash, Indiana. What's going on, Nathan? Happy Thanksgiving. Jeff Branham, hello to all. We still are a blessed nation and have so much to be thankful for. Absolutely, we do. Absolutely, without a doubt. Mr. Nash, what's going on, Joe? What's up, Matt? Congrats on the win. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it very much. Again, very surprising win, guys. Very surprising win. I was not expecting it, that's for sure. And we're going to get into the whole day here in a little bit. I'm going to tell you guys, how the lake's set up, why I fished the way I did, why I feel like I separated myself a little bit from the field. And we're going to get into some things, some outside the box stuff. Okay. We're going to talk about some outside the box stuff tonight that, may or may not help you in your crappie fishing. I think that it probably will, because a lot of times we get ingrained with stuff that, we hear, we read, we watch on a YouTube video. There's just so much stuff out there for crappie content. And a lot of times we see something on a YouTube video and we take it as gospel. And, that's kind of what I want to talk about tonight as we get through everything and through my Chickamauga tournament, how I set up and what I did, and just some of the things that went completely against the gospel of crappie fishing that I feel like really did set me apart in that tournament. And I wanted to share them with you. So we're going to get into that. here in just a little bit. Let's get through some of the thank you or some of the hellos. Very thankful everyone's healthy. And as of Monday, I'm now a great grandpa. Congratulations, Harvey, on being a great grandpa. A boy that weighed in at 6 pounds, 10 ounces. That's awesome, my friend. Congratulations. Everybody give Harvey a congratulations on becoming a great grandpa. If you weren't old before, Harvey, the great on in the front of grandpa, that gets you on up there, my friend. But congratulations. No, in all seriousness, congratulations on being a great grandpa. I know you're thankful for that this holiday season, right? 922, that's on win. Congrats on the win. Thank you very much. Larry said you went out of focus. I'm not sure what that meant. All right, Tom A from Pennsylvania. Happy Thanksgiving, all. Happy Thanksgiving, sir. Yeah, congrats, he said. Chris, my mom made a ham one year for Christmas, and I told her, Mom, I love you, but if you ever have another Christmas meal without turkey, I will not be there. You told your mom that, Chris? My goodness gracious, man. Seriously? You told your mom that? Shame on you, Chris. Shame. She probably looked back at you and said, Fine, you can cook it. That's what my mom would have done. She would be like, that's fine, son. You're in charge of cooking turkey from now on. That's what my mom would have done. Victor, happy Thanksgiving from Victor from St. Louis, Missouri, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. He said, here's Larry. My spot had fish. It was loaded with bluegill last time I looked. Loaded with bluegill. Yep, that's right. R Bear, happy Thanksgiving from Northwest Louisiana. Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, looky there's Mr. Ken Run. Long time no see. Thanks for the setup. You're very welcome, Ken. So, guys, Ken just left the shop a couple hours ago. He picked his boat up. I installed a Livescope system for him. I can't wait to get some pictures back from Ken from where he goes out there and puts it to use and catches some big old slabs. So, congratulations, Ken, on your new Livescope system, my friend. I hope you love it. I hope it does you well for many, many years. I'm sure it will. And I thank you. I'm blessed. Thank you very much for allowing me to install that in your boat. Guys, Ken has a Triton, and I was kind of liking it. I mean, I was walking around in it, and I was like, hey, this is a nice little layout right here. I kind of like this layout. So, very nice boat, Ken. Congratulations on your new boat and new Livescope system. So, don't forget to send me pictures when you catch some on that Livescope. Send me pictures. I want to see some slabs, my friend. Jeffrey Smith, Hawkins County, checking in. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Jeffrey. Chris said, I do cook it now, and we have never had another ham. That's what my mom would say. My mom would be like, congratulations, son. You now get to cook the ham or the turkey for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Thanks. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Chick. Let's talk about a little bit about my mindset going into the tournament. Let's talk a little bit about, um, the gospels of crappie fishing, right? Especially tournament fishing. The have tos or the just the general thought process from knowing you have a tournament coming up, having to go pre-fish and find the fish, know where the fish are. And look, I'm not in no way, shape, form, or fashion am I going to try to toot my horn at the moment, but I'm going to tell you how this tournament's set up for me and just my mindset. Okay. So I had not been on Chick in 11 months. The last time that I was on Chickamauga was when my motor broke down in that video that I put out 11 months ago. You guys can go back and look. It was 11 months ago when I was on chick. I wanted to pre-fish. You always try to pre-fish. You always try to get on the lake. I've actually heard guys that say, I'm not going to a tournament because I didn't get to pre-fish. And it's like, you know, I think something that I've learned over the years is if you have knowledge on a body of water, like I've fished chick for years. I mean, I've fished chick for probably 8 years. Now, not every day, not every time I go to the lake, but I've fished that lake in just about every season over 8 years of fishing. And have caught fish on that lake pretty much every time I go to the lake, right? So, you know, I was unable to pre-fish. I did not fish at all. I hadn't seen the water. I didn't even know what the water looked like. I didn't know what color the water was. I didn't know what temperature the water was. I knew what the air temps had done. I knew what the cold fronts had done. I knew what, I took the things that I did know, the average temperatures over the last 2 weeks. I took all those things and tried to come up with an idea of what I was going to do. Of course, I gave Josh Sanders a hard time last week because I told him we were going to the same spot, which we ended up in the same area, but not necessarily the same spots. I did see Josh and Ashley on the lake probably mid-morning. It was probably 10 o'clock-ish by the time I saw them. But for the most part, we did not fish the same stuff, did not even go to the same spot. So I was just giving Josh a hard time. But, one thing that I knew, okay, was Chickamauga right now is extremely full of little fish. There's a lot of little fish in that lake, and they're everywhere. They're suspended in open water. They're on docks for sure. Most of your groups, your schools of smaller fish are on docks. They've been that way down there for 2 years. And I knew that. So going in, I really didn't have a very good feeling about docks because there's just a lot of fish on docks and they're all small. Now, you can go down there and you can catch 200 fish in a day off docks, no problem. But they're all going to be 9 to 11-inch fish. It's just hard to catch anything with size out of that type of structure, in that pattern. So that's something that I kind of knew, and I just kind of set myself away from that. Now, used to on chick, you could go shoot docks all day and catch a 10-pound bag, and that's how you had to fish to win a tournament. That's changed, in my opinion, and I knew that going in. So I just kind of thought to myself, okay, well, let's punt. Let's go back to brush. How much brush do I have on the lake? So I sat down in front of my units here at the house, and I just started looking at my units and just started going through. I didn't really have that much brush. Okay, I don't have a whole lot of brush on chick. Well, let me take that back. I have a lot of brush on chick, but it's very scattered. It's very scattered brush, okay? And I literally didn't feel that I could run fast enough and hit enough spots to do well in the tournament. I just didn't feel that way. So, again, I went back to what I kind of knew, and I knew that in the winter, those fish like to run up the river, all right? They like to run up the lake into the river. I knew that, and I thought to myself, okay, another thing I know is that time of year, if you can find a white crappie, you can find bigger fish. I've had a lot of success over the years catching bigger fish out of chick in the winter, catching white crappie, finding white crappie. So with that being said, that's kind of what I went looking for. Okay. So again, and I've got all this on video. I did video the tournament. I'm trying to get a lot of it put together so I can release it for you guys, so that you guys can see that. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm getting that on video so that you guys can see it. But I wanted to find white crappie. So, I kind of put it in my mind that if I was going to be successful, if I was going to catch fish, if I was going to win the tournament or even compete in the tournament, I needed to find those open water white crappie that were suspended in the creek channels. And I was going for broke. I was going for broke, guys. I mean, it was literally one of those do or die situations. So I set my mind to it that I was going to go to a dock, which I knew would have fish on it. I was going to go to a dock and get 7 keepers. Okay. Did that. Check. 8 o'clock, I had 7 in the live well. Then I told myself I'm going out offshore in the middle of the creeks, and I'm going to find suspended fish. Okay. So as soon as I got the 7th keeper in the boat, I pulled off that dock, and I caught all 7 off one dock. And pulled out in open water. I think when I pulled off that dock, I had about 5.5 pounds. I think that's about all I had, 5.5 pounds. And pulled out in open water and started fishing open water. Okay. What was I looking for? All right. For those of you with Livescope, let me talk about Livescope and how I used that to find those open water fish. All right. So I set my Livescope on about 50 feet. Okay. When I was looking for those open water fish, I was not looking for those groups of fish. Okay. So when I get the video done, you guys are going to see there's a lot of groups, a lot of pods. I mean, just big schools of fish that are out in this open water suspended. And you're going to watch as I catch some of those fish, and they're all black crappie. Every one of them's black crappie. Okay. At that point in the day, I did not have a white crappie in the live well. They were all blacks. I fished those large schools of fish for about 30 or 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and realized that every one of those big schools was black crappie. That's not what I was looking for. It's not what I wanted. Okay. So I moved. I made a move from one creek to another. Got to the second creek. It's a creek that over the years I've just been very successful trolling in that creek, catching large white crappie, suspended white crappie that move up into that creek in the winter. Now, I'm going to go back just a little bit. I'm going to say this. Sometimes, okay, pre-fishing can just mess with your mind. There's a lot of times that pre-fishing a lake or spending too much time on a lake can really mess with you. And let me tell you why. Because if you go out there and you fish one area of the lake and catch a good solid fish, and then go to another area and catch a good solid fish, you've got a toss up at this point. You've got to figure out, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? A lot of times you can really, really mess with your mind by pre-fishing. And I feel like this tournament's one where I just went off what I knew. I went off what I've experienced in the past. And I told myself I was going to put a plan together, told myself I was going to fish a certain way, and I did that. And I was successful in doing it. Okay. So I think not pre-fishing this one helped me, in all honesty, just to be more efficient and stay in my lane. Okay. I went out on a limb. Okay. I went out on a limb pulling off fish to go find individual fish. I went out on a limb for that. But at the end of the day, when we got back to the weigh-in and everybody weighed in and the winners talked about how they caught their fish, everybody had the same story. Docks. There was one guy that said they fished docks and brush. Okay. The only person that said I fished offshore with Livescope all day long and looked for individual fish was me. So I'm not saying that I'm not saying that. Well, what I am saying is that the difference in technique, I feel, is what helped me win that tournament. Okay. It wasn't that I was on better fish. It wasn't that, I was able to just whoop up on everybody, because that's not the case. It's just I fished a different way, and I weighed all white crappie. all my fish were white crappie. So let's talk about that. So I moved into this creek where I felt like there's always been winter staging white crappie, and I just started looking for those individual fish. Now, how were the fish set up? What was I looking for? So the way the fish were set up and what I was looking for on my Livescope screen, again, if you have Livescope, this will help you. What I was looking for on my screen was those individual bright returns. There's a difference in a stump or a stick up and a fish, okay? So what was happening is these fish were right up off the bottom. They were about 1 foot to 2 foot off the bottom, okay? And they looked like a stick. They looked like a stick up. But right in the center of that stick up was a very, very bright dot, okay, which was their air bladder. So they weren't round circles like you see on a lot of guys that fish out in the Midwest and Texas and all these different places. You see them suspended midway in the water column, and they're just a perfect little round dot that looks like it's glowing in the dark. These fish were not that way. It looked like a stick that came off the bottom of the lake, but with a bright dot in the middle. Okay, I would throw out there to that, and I'll show you what bait I used here in just a second. I would cast out to that, and when that bait got within about 2 foot of that stump or stick up, it'd start moving. And then once that stick up would move, then I'd start to get a return of an actual fish. All right. Why in the world it appeared like that when that fish was sitting still? I've asked that question to several people, and we're not real sure. But that's the way they appeared when they were sitting still. So if you're looking on Livescope for fish, you're not always going to see a fish. All right. This was, I'm telling you now, it looked like a stump coming up off the bottom of the lake. It looked like a stick that just come up off the bottom of the lake with a little bright dot in the middle. Once I figured that out, it was off to the races. By that time, the second creek I was in is where I saw Josh and Ashley, and I think I caught, I don't know, 6 or 8 fish right there beside, well, not beside them, but right there amongst them in that same creek. That I culled. I think I culled my entire live well out of that creek. So I went from 5.5 to about 6.5 pounds because I culled through 7 fish, 1/4 pound, 1/4 pound, 1/4 pound until I got up there to about 6.5. Now the bait that I was using, again, if you're a live scoper and you're going to cast to open water fish, I recommend a casting rod. Okay. This is a 6.5 foot ACC crappie stick. All right, let me see if I can get it back here. You guys can see it. This is difficult. All right, so you can almost see the end of it. Anyway, this is a 6.5 foot ACC crappie stick. Okay, right there, ACC crappie stick, 6.5 footer. It is a medium fast action. Okay, you guys see that? Medium fast. 6.5 footer, 6.6, GS66M. Okay. This is part of the reason that I was able to be so successful. Now, let me tell you why. Okay. The crappie on this specific day, like I said, I had my Livescope set on 50 foot. I was trolling into the wind. Okay. If you're going to fish this way, you have to go into the wind. All right. When that fish showed up on the screen, as soon as that fish showed up on the screen, I would let off the trolling motor. I had my trolling motor on about 5 or 6, okay? Just enough to get the boat going and coasting well. My 690 VS Ranger, okay, coasts. When I get off the trolling motor, it coasts. It's a deep V boat. It's heavy. Once you get that joker moving, it's hard to stop it, all right? So when that fish would get to 50 feet and I'd see that fish on the screen, okay, I'm looking with my Livescope as I'm going, just looking, fish, stop, foot off the trolling motor, let the wind stop the boat. The wind and the current would stop the boat, and then I'd make a cast. By the time I could stop the boat and make that cast, Okay. From the time I got off the trolling motor and was able to make a cast, figure out where that fish was and cast to him, that fish was about 40 to 35 feet from me. If I touched the trolling motor when that fish got inside of 40, okay, inside, that was 45, inside of 40 feet, if I touched that trolling motor inside of 40 feet, that fish was gone. Or that fish would go so close to the bottom that I couldn't see it. It would literally, you could watch that fish, you'd be sitting there like a stump and you'd see him go right down on the bottom of the lake. And it's like, where'd he go? He's gone. Anything inside 40 feet, that fish would move. So it's very, 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 very important to be able to cast to those fish. That's where a good casting rod comes in handy. And this being a medium fast, you can make those quick casts, guys. Make sure I don't hit the ceiling. You make those quick casts, and that rod comes right back. Okay. JM Rose, he says, "Hey Matt, thanks for the discount codes. I saved $29 on a stowaway mount. You're very welcome, my friend. I'm glad you saved some money. Guys, don't forget the discount codes right down there in the bottom of the screen. Those are for you guys to save some money like JM did. Okay. So being able to make that long cast to those fish, guys, I was casting anywhere from 40 out to 50 feet is the casts I was making. All right. Now, just as important as that cast is jig head. All right. A lot of times when you're fishing this way, you don't have a lot of time to get that bait to that fish. Why? Because it's kind of like you have to align the stars. All right. It is. It's a very, very hard way of fishing. It's a very draining way of fishing. It's draining. I'm telling you. By the end of the day, as a matter of fact, if Rusty Prophet was on here, I don't know, Rusty, you on here, you watching? He'll tell you. He pulled over to my boat. I saw Rusty at about 3 o'clock. Well, a little before 3. But at 3 o'clock, he pulled by my boat to ask me what time we stopped fishing. He pulls over there and he says, "Hey, Matt, you in there?" I was laid on the front deck. I was done. We could fish till 3:30. I stopped at 3. I couldn't take it anymore. I was done. I was tired. I was wore out. My legs hurt. My back hurt. My neck hurt. My arms hurt. Everything hurt. I was done. Now, I had been sick the week before. That could have played a role. But I was done, guys. I was tired. I mean, I didn't eat all day. And I realized that at about 3 o'clock that I hadn't eaten all day. And my head started hurting. I started shaking. I was done. I was exhausted. So I'm laying on the front deck, drinking a Mountain Dew, eating a bag of chips and a ho ho or ding dong or whatever it is, some kind of cake, trying to get something in my system because my head started hurting. And I hear a boat come up, and I'm like, "Huh? What? What's?" And it's Rusty. He's like, "Hey, you over there? Hey, what time do we start fishing again?" I was like, 3:30. That's what I thought. Okay, bye. Zoom, off he goes. Um, so it's a very exhausting way of fishing, and the reason the jig head is so important is because, like I said, you have to align those stars. When you get up there and you're facing into the wind and you stop that trolling motor, at that very second that you stop that trolling motor, your boat is subject to the current and to the wind, period. Whatever the current's doing and the wind's doing is what your boat's going to do. Okay. So being able to cast that jig out there, get that jig down to that fish, and get that jig moving by that fish so you can get his attention and get a bite is very important. So I know I told you guys most of the time I'm always fishing with a 16th or a 32nd, but on this particular day, I was using an 1/8 ounce jig head. Okay, that is a pink. This is the actual jig that I used. Okay, that is a purple and chartreuse stump bug. Okay, with the center paddle tail taken out. If you guys can tell, I took the center paddle tail out. Gives it a little bit of separation, gets those legs moving a little bit more. It's a little bit of a secret, tech tip, secret of the night. Take that middle paddle tail out. You get a little more action on those legs, as you can see there. Allows those legs to flutter a little bit more. A lot of times I pull that tail out. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. This was a day that I did. Okay. So as you can tell, I mean, you can see that bait is 8 slum up. All right. That bait is eat to pieces. Okay. it's got road rash. Purple and chartreuse, pink and white head, that is what I caught them on during the tournament. All right. That is a crappie magnet double cross head in pink and white. I don't think they have the pink and white's 1/8 ounce again. The reason I used 1/8 is because when I cast out to that fish and that jig hits the water, I want it down there to that fish so that I can start my retrieve before my boat gets blown all over the place. Okay. Because when I'm close enough to those fish that I can cast to them, I don't want to be hitting the trolling motor. I want to stay off the trolling motor. I want to be as quiet as I can, and I want my cast to be on point. I mean, everything has to kind of line up. Like I said, that's why it's such an exhausting way of fishing, guys. I felt like I was bass fishing again. I really did. I felt like I was out there bass fishing again. I made 3,477 casts, and of course, I caught a lot of fish. I think I've got about, I don't know, 75 to 100 fish, something around in there on that specific bait. I never changed baits. This is the same bait I started the day with. This is the same bait I ended the day with. I caught 75 plus fish on that purple and chartreuse stump bug. Okay. Now, it is road rash to pieces. There's a little bit of a cut right there at the front, but I'm telling you right now, I could go catch 50 more fish on this stump bug. All right, most durable bait out there by far, in my opinion. I hadn't used one that's more durable than that. Okay. Um, so you ask me why I use Bonehead products? Because I saved, I don't know, 30 minutes out of my day not having to change baits. And I caught everything on this jig. I caught white bass, and you guys know white bass will tear a jig up. But I caught white bass, I caught crappie, I caught bluegill, and you know bluegill will tear them up. I caught a 4-pound largemouth on this, which you'll see on video. It's by far the best, most durable bait on the market. I mean, that's why I use them. So, because I believe in them. But again, 1/8 ounce jig head so that bait gets to the fish. All right, that's the most important thing, is getting to that fish before your boat's blown all over the place and you lose that fish. Hang on 1 second. I think Ashley's got a question. I didn't ask you at the tournament, but fishing that way, did the 1/8 ounce hitting the water on that long of a cast ever spook any of the fish? Did you have to try to lay it on the water? Good question. Very good question. No, and I'll tell you why. Because those fish were not on top of the lake. All right, they were not on top of the lake. Now, I will say this: there are times when that jig hitting the water will spook fish. I've had that happen before. Okay, where you're out there, you're fishing, you see a fish 2-3 foot down, you make a cast to him, and it spooks him. Guys, with Livescope, okay, or without Livescope, either way, with or without, if you're casting to a point, if you're casting to a brush pile, casting to a fish, shooting a dock, whatever it is you're doing, don't ever, 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 ever throw your bait on top of where you think the fish are. Don't do it. Because especially in our lakes in East Tennessee, we've got some very clear water. We've got clear water lakes. There's a lot of times those fish can look up and see you or a jig, believe it or not. So, anytime you're casting to a fish or casting to a brush pile, always try to throw beyond your point that you're trying to fish to or for. Always throw past. That's something that I've always done. I've always been a believer in that. Most of the time, a natural presentation to fish is a swimming presentation, a horizontal presentation. Okay. A bait falling out of the middle of thin air and then getting in front of their face and stopping is not necessarily a natural presentation. Okay. A bait swimming horizontally that goes by that fish will get its attention. All right. Because that's how minnows swim. That's natural to a fish. When a fish sees that swimming by their face, that's natural to them. So always try to cast beyond that fish. And that's what I was doing, Ashley, is, like I said, I was casting anywhere from 40 to 50 feet. Those fish would be at 35 or 40, and I would cast at 40 to 50, let that jig fall, and then start my retrieve back to those fish. Okay. So, the reason I wanted to talk about this and wanted to go into this open water sniping of crappie is because that specific day, there was a lot of guys that said to me, I don't know how to fish that way. I've never been able to fish that way. I've never fished that way. I don't know if I could do it or not. It seems difficult. It is. It is very difficult. It is an extremely frustrating technique to cast that far, to make those far casts to a fish, especially with wind and current. If you have wind and current, it just makes it that much more difficult. So yeah, it is. It is a difficult way. It's not like, oh, there's a brush pile. Let me cast over there. Those fish are sitting on a limb. They're not moving. A lot of those fish that I saw were even moving, guys, and I would have to follow that fish. This is the one that gets interesting, okay? That fish is moving. You know it's a crappie because it's got that straight up vertical with that dot in the middle. Knew it was a crappie. Knew it. I'd have to follow that fish. I would sometimes follow that. I'd sometimes follow that fish 30, 40, 50 yards, 60 yards, and then he'd stop. Once that fish stopped, then I could position my boat where I needed to be, make that cast, and try to get on that fish. But again, each fish is different. It is a new setup. Each fish is a new challenge, a different challenge. It's very, 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 very frustrating. I'm telling you. And I've got a butt seat right over here that's probably going in my boat next time I do this, because I'm telling you, my legs, my back, my arms, my shoulders, my head, my eyes, my brain, everything hurt by the end of the day, because I was constantly thinking, is that a crappie? No. Is that a crappie? Maybe. Let's try to get on that and make a cast. Again, like I said, probably made 3,374 casts if I made one. But again, very productive. Identifying those individual fish for tournament fishing is probably going to become more popular as time goes by. Can you go fish brush and catch a good tournament bag of fish? Sure. Can you go fish brush and catch 30 to take home and eat? Sure. Let me mention this to you guys, especially those that live on Chickamauga or fish Chickamauga. Please, if you do anything on Chickamauga, take your fish home. Take 15, 30, whatever you're allowed, take them home. I'm telling you guys, if they were to do a survey on Chick, my opinion, they would come back with a population that is out of control. There is so many fish on Chick. It is absolutely ridiculous. You'll see in the video. I mean, there's schools under docks 200 deep. There's schools out in open water floating around 200 fish deep or 100 fish deep, one after the other. I'm talking every 20 yards, a school of 100 fish. It's absolutely ridiculous, the amount of fish that's in that lake right now. I would be scared if TWRA would actually go do a net survey or, a shocking survey right now in some of those creeks. It'd look like the daggum plague. If they took the shock boat down there, it would look like the daggum plague took over, and there'd be friggin' fish laying everywhere, and they'd all be crappie. It's ridiculous. So, in my opinion, that lake needs a lot of fish taken out of it and eaten. Period. If they're ever going to have a population that grows to what it used to be, those 10, 11, 12-pound bags that you used to be able to catch out of Chick. It's just, there's a lot of fish in it that are the same size. So we'll see. I don't know. I could be wrong. I am not a fish biologist, but I can tell you this. I fished that lake for a decade, and there is, my opinion, more fish in that lake now than there's ever been. And they're all the same size. So. All right, Jeffrey Smith. Is the Livescope deal at Bass Pro right now a good deal? Fixing to buy one. If you have a better place to purchase it from, let me know. And plus, am hooking it up to a 93 SV non-UHD unit. Will it be good? So yes, the deal at Bass Pro is a good deal. I mean, they're $200 off. You're not going to get that anywhere else. A $200 rebate, I think, is what it is. And you know, there may be some dealers and things offering it, but Jeffrey, to be honest with you, you know, the deal at Bass Pro is just as good. The only bad thing is you know, you still pay tax and you still pay. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, let's do the math. So you go to Bass Pro, you buy a $1,500 Livescope. You get a $200 mail-in rebate, but you pay $150 in taxes, roughly. It's just rough math. So really, you're saving $50. Whereas, you know, if you can't get it, you're still saving $50. But if you can't get it at Bass Pro, let's say they run out or something like that, I buy all my Garmin stuff from GPS Store online. You can type in GPS Store. It's where I get all mine. No tax, free shipping. So you're saving $150 there. I mean, you know, so like I said, it just kind of, if you aren't able to get it at Bass Pro or you're not able to get it right now, you can always get it there and it's about the same money. So, you know, but you're going to pay the $150 tax before you get the rebate. Ain't no doubt. You're going to pay full price. Then you're going to mail in a rebate. So you're paying tax on the full price. And to answer your question, the 93 SV non-UHD unit will run your Livescope great. That's what I actually had before I had my 1222. I upgraded to a 1222 earlier this year, but I had a 93 SV to start out with when I first bought my Livescope setup, and it ran it perfect. It ran it great. I was very pleased with it. I had no issues with it. The only thing I like the 1222 for is it's a little larger picture. You know, it's I don't have to squint as much. It's just a little larger screen. So, but it'll run it great, sure. So one thing that I would say is, Jeffrey, if they're running the rebate on the Garmin product, if you can buy that online and still get the rebate, you're better off to buy it online somewhere that doesn't have tax or shipping. Okay, guys, you know, tax and shipping. Nobody wants to pay taxes, right? I'm talking about not paying taxes. I should maybe make this private, not public. Let me tell you guys how to skim on your taxes. No, I'm just kidding. I can't ever run for president now. I'll never be able to run for president. Matt for president. Hey, told everybody in 2021 how to escape their taxes. Yeah, I can never run for president now. Anyway, moving on. Matthew Kofeld. I knew somebody was going to ask this question. I was waiting on it. How deep were you fishing? Very good question. So I was anywhere from 10 to 15 feet. I was in that area of the creek where, and Chick is a shallower lake. Okay. As far as lakes in East Tennessee are concerned, Chick is the shallowest of the lakes. Average depth, Chick is the shallowest from the lakes that we fish. We got Chick, Tellico, Watts Bar, Fort Loudon, Douglas, and Cherokee. And Chick would be the shallowest average depth lake that we have. So I was in that 10 to 15 foot range in the creek channels and just following those creek channels in and out of the major creeks. Any creek arm that had a creek channel that ran through it pretty much will hold fish this time of year, okay? And that 10 to 15 foot range. Josh, haha, no one wants to pay taxes if possible. Yeah, that's right. I know that's right. Well, you know, probably shouldn't say that on a public channel. Can never run for president, like I said. All right. Tyler Klein for jig heads. Do you like sickle hooks? For the 1/16 ounce size hook is for a 1/16 ounce. What size hook is your go-to? Very good question. Very good question. Oh, by the way, I ordered a ton, literally a metric ton of hooks from Curtis at Lightwire. So when those come in, I'll show you guys what I ordered from him. I ordered a bunch of 1/8 ounce because I didn't have a whole bunch of 1/8 ounce. Okay, I told you guys I don't use a lot of 1/8 ounce jigs, but fishing this way, I see that need to have that 1/8 ounce so that I can get down to the fish quicker. So I ordered a bunch of hooks from Curtis, Lightwire hooks. Mr. Curtis Hobbs is decal. His logo is right here behind me somewhere. Right there above the chair. Right there. Mr. Lightwire hooks himself, Mr. Curtis Hobbs. I ordered a metric ton of hooks from him, which are on the way, shipped them today. So, and I think he put some stuff in there for you guys. So we're going to have some giveaways for Mr. Curtis Hobbs. Thank you, Mr. Curtis, if you're on here tonight. If not, if you watch it later, thank you very much, because I think he's going to put some stuff in there for me to give away to you guys, like I said. So anyways, the answer to your question, Tyler, I do not like a sickle hook. Okay. I've went over this before many times. A sickle hook, because of the way it is bent. Let me see. Let me show you. Do I fish with a sickle hook? Yes. Okay. Do I have sickle hooks in this box? Yes. Are they my preferred hook? No. All right, let me show you why. Let me get something to point with. Okay. Ow! They're sharp. All right. So Tyler, here's a sickle. Okay. Because of this bend right here, okay, that bend is past 90. All right, that bend right there is past, it's a past 90 bend. If you get this hook hung and straighten it out, get this hook hung, straighten it out, get this hook hung, straighten it out, eventually this hook is going to break right there in that bend. You're going to break it. All right. For that reason, because there is a past 90 bend in this hook, I do not like them. Now, I'm not going to get into hook set ratios. I'm not going to get into all that. I'm just not. Unless you're down there and you can see the fish, how can you get real particular on a hook set ratio? It just, no. I'm not going there. All right. Do I feel like I get better hook sets with a sickle hook? I don't feel like I get better hook sets. No. I don't feel like I get worse hook sets, but I don't feel like I get any better hook sets. Okay. Do I like the fact that it has a little bit wider bend? Okay. I'll give it that. It may stick out a little more from the bait itself, but I can also take a regular bend hook and open it up just a hair and get the same thing as a sickle hook. All right. Now, with that being said, let me show you what I do like. Let me show you what I do fish with. Okay. This is a round bend. All right. That is just a regular old eagle claw round bend. All right. That's an 1/8 ounce pink head. That is a black onyx hook. Okay. I don't care really if it's black or it's brown or it's gold. It really doesn't matter to me. Curtis is sending me about everything. He said, man, I'm just a standard shank hook. He said, I'm getting low on them. I got to order some more. I said, send me everything you got. I don't care. If it's red, gold, bronze, purple, I don't care. Send it to me. Number 2, always number 2. Okay. For me, always a number 2 hook. All right. 16th, 32nd, 8th, I don't care. Always a number 2 hook. And let me tell you why. Because everybody knows my go-to bait. My go-to bait is a bonehead stump bug. Let me see if I can find one. See if I can find a white chartreuse. Here we go. All right. That's a bonehead stump bug right there. White and chartreuse. Okay. Let me show you why I like a number 2. And this is not just on a bone. Let me see if I can find one that's got a whacked up tail. We'll use it. There we go. All right. Bonehead stump bug with a crazy tail. No, it's not too crazy. That's got one leg. It's kind of wonky. So let me show you why I like a number 2. And this is for most baits. This isn't just the bonehead stump bug. This is for Bobby Garlands, crappie magnets, whatever it is. A number 2 hook fits this bait and most other baits perfect. And why I say perfect is because if I come right down here to where the second color meets the body and come right out the butt, right above the paddle tail. Okay. Turn, would you? All right. So if you can see that, I came right out above the paddle tail. Okay. That bait sits on that hook perfect. Okay. That's why a number 2 is my preferred hook, because it gets me all the way to the back of that bait. Gets me right back to the back of it. So if that fish comes up and wants to short strike that jig, okay, he doesn't have to get the whole jig in his mouth. He's just got to get the end of it. All right. If he gets it right there, I got him. I got him. All right. So always, always, always a number 2 hook for me. Heard. Heard exclamation point. Number 2. Jeff Johnson. Matt, if I can say, Hooked Marine is a dealer, sells Garmin units, and saved me $300 to $400 when I bought one. That's awesome, man. I think, well, I don't know. I don't know if Jeffrey, I don't know. I think Jeffrey was talking about the GLS 10 and the black box. Jeff, I think is what, because it sounded like he had a unit. He had the 93 SV. I think he was talking about the $1,500 transducer and box, but that's awesome. They saved you some money. Hooked Marine guys, Jeff was able to save some money. Check them out. I have not heard of them, but seems like Jeff says they're good to go. So check them out. For those of you that are getting a Livescope this holiday season, okay, if you need someone to install that Livescope, holler at your boy. Okay. As you know, I do electronic installs. If you want to see some of the installs that I've done, you can go to Wired for Crappie on Facebook. You can go to my page, Matt Zenas, on Facebook, and you can see some of the installs that I've done. I post install pictures there. I'll set it up however you want to set it up. You don't have to go with stowaway mount. You don't have to go with a Fishing Specialties pole. You want to put it on the trolling motor, we'll put it on the trolling motor. I'm not, but if you ask me my opinion, I'm going to tell you, what I believe is the best product on the market, and that's stowaway and Fishing Specialties. But if you want something else, that's cool too. You don't have to have those products. I'll do an install of whatever you want, whatever mount you want, and whatever pole you want. It's fine. But I do electronic installs, and I do them for a reasonable cost. That way you guys get your units hooked up. It doesn't break the bank. As I have seen some that are charging a lot of money to do an install of a Livescope unit. So hit me up. You can hit me up on Facebook, like I said, at Wired for Crappie, or on my page, Matt Zenas, on Facebook, whatever you want to do. Send me a message and I can help you get them installed. Okay. Oh, there's Curtis. What's up, Curtis? He said, you should receive Monday along with goodies. Thank you, Curtis. I appreciate you, buddy. I can't wait to get those hooks because I feel like I'm going to be fishing this way a lot. I feel like it's going to become I don't want to say the norm, but I feel like on certain lakes, certain times of year, it's going to become more frequent. Okay, so we'll see. But those guys out west and those guys that fish dirty water lakes, they can take a 10 or 12-foot rod and they can sit right over top of those fish and they can vertical jig right down to them or pendulum a jig in front of them or whatever and catch those fish. We don't have that luxury here. We don't have the ability to get right over those fish because they will run. They see your boat, they will run. They can see that boat coming from 25 feet away and they will run. So we've got to make those casts to those fish and not spook them. Tyler, do you ever cut down the stump bugs for a smaller profile? No, I do not. I fish year round, and I've never had to cut down the stump bug to a smaller profile. It could be done. Absolutely could be done. If you're ice fishing or something and need a little bitty small profile, I mean, there's a lot of ways to make a stump bug smaller, okay, or have a smaller profile. Some of those include taking the legs off, taking the beaver tail off. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you could do. I mean, that's a somewhat bulky profile, but if I take the center paddle tail out of it, it gets a little less bulky, right? So you got a little less bulk. And then if I were to, say, take the outside legs off, so again, bulky, very bulky profile, or somewhat bulky, not very, but somewhat bulky. So if I were to take the outside legs off, pinch those jokers off, that's even smaller. All right. And then, if you really wanted to get small, I guess you could put the legs back on it. I guess you could take this and pinch it in half, which, yeah. I mean, you could always take it and pinch it in half and have it really, really small. You could even pinch these legs off in half. I mean, I don't know how small you'd want one, but, there's a lot of different things you could do to it. I just give him to my 6-year-old and give him the scissors in the front of the boat. He can make up some different stuff, but it seems about every time he gets in my boat, he takes about 12 jigs and cuts them up into pieces. He's like, "Look, Dad, I cut them up." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, it's nice. Thanks, son." So, I mean, you can do a lot of different things with a stump bug. Me personally, I haven't had to make them smaller. I've been able to catch fish on them just the way they are, or sometimes I do pull that center tail out, like I told you earlier. Just fishing. Hello, just made it. Sorry. That's all right. Better late than never. Ashley Coffee says, I can vouch for Matt's install skills. He really knows his stuff and does a nice, clean job. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it. So I did put Ashley's Livescope system in his boat. So thank you for that, Ashley. I appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, I know my way around most boats. Let's see, now I've been in just about everything, I guess, Lowe's and Rangers and Tritons and Bass Trackers, and I have not been in a Vexus yet, but I have one coming. I have a Vexus that's showing up here day after Thanksgiving, so I'm going to be putting in a unit in a Vexus, my first Vexus, so I'm looking forward to that. But I've been in just about everything else, from John boats up to, Rangers, which is the best. Rangers is the best, baby. Look, I got a new decal for the wall back here. I gotta put it up. Yow. Wow. That's good looking stuff right there. See, that's the by Forrest L. Wood. Okay. If you own a Ranger that was built by Forrest Wood, is a good one. All right. My boat's a 96 model. It was a true Forrest Wood design. There's a lot of boats that have this on them that are not true Forrest Wood designs. My boat is. For those of you that know Ranger and know everything about Ranger, you know Forrest Wood was the man. David Coleman. Congrats, Matt. Are you familiar with the new style Try-On 25, and do you recommend it, or do you and the Wired fam have a better preference? Thanks. Very good question. Hang on. Very good question. So, bear with me. Is this it? I think I have one here somewhere. I just don't know which one it is, Captain. They all look the same. Well, to answer your question, I can't tell which one's the new one or which one's not. So I guess that answers that question, doesn't it? I know I have the new version here somewhere. I just don't know which one it is. The bezel is different, but I can't tell. Can't tell which one it is. So I'll answer your question. To answer your question, the new style, I love the new style. It's just a look. It's just the look is different. The reel's the same, size is the same, the bezel's the same. It's just got a different look to it. I wish I had mine. I mean, I don't know what I've done with it now. I'm trying to think of what I've done with it. It's aggravating me. But everything's the same. It's just the look is different. Okay. I have no problem with it at all. I have one that runs the same, it acts the same, it feels the same, it reels the same, casts the same, drags the same. It's the same. It's just the look. Sean, been in a legend yet? I have. I have been in a legend. Yes, sir. Just fishing. When do you use vicious 4-pound mono, and when do you use braid? And what size braid and brand? Very good question. So, always braid on my casting rods. You know, if I'm casting open water or I'm casting brush, always braid with a fluorocarbon leader. So that is a clear fluoro leader, which you can see right there below the rod. I've got about 4 feet of clear fluoro leader. Hang on just a second. Let me grab the line. Oh, crap. I'm going to fall out of the boat. Hold on. Okay. So the braid that I use, that is the Bonehead Tackle B-Power braid. It is 12 pound, okay, with a 4-pound diameter. And I use orange, as you can see. I like using orange because it separates my brush rods, my casting rods from my dock shooting rods. So my dock shooting rods, which I have right here. My dock shooting rods are 4-pound high vis, green high vis, vicious. Okay, that is a 6-foot ACC crappie stick. So I shoot docks with a 6-footer. I cast brush with a 6.5. But when they're laying on the deck, they look the same. So if I look down and see orange, I know it's a 6.5-footer. I look down and see green, I know it's a 6-foot dock shooter. Okay, so that is where I use the 4-pound vicious, is on my dock shooting rods, and my dock shooting rods alone are straight mono. I'm still trying to figure out which one of these is the new version. I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I wish I knew. Oh well. I'll find it after we get off here. All right. Just bought 2 try-on 25s, and they are smooth. They are. They're very, very nice reels for the money. Ronnie Harris, love my Ranger, even though it's an 89 model. Those are the good years. I mean, 89 to 99, that's it. That's where it's at. I mean, that's for sure. Hello? Are you waiting on me? No? What do you need? A screwdriver? Um, okay. Close the door. All right. So that's what I use as far as line. That's why I use the line that I use. Again, always on my braid, I'm using a fluorocarbon, clear fluorocarbon leader. The leader is Vicious, 100% fluorocarbon. It is a clear 100% fluoro in 6 or 8 pound. I don't really have a preference as far as 6 or 8. Generally, I'm running 6, but I'll grab 8 just the same. Actually, I've got it. I've got it right here. So there's my 6 pound Vicious fluorocarbon. Okay, and clear. So that's what I'm running on the end of my braid, guys. Got it? Okay. All right. So that kind of explains again, how the tournament went, what my thought process was for the tournament, and why I feel that I was able to be successful in winning the tournament is because I did something different. I thought outside the box. For years and years and years, it's always been about fishing docks on Chick, and it's got to the point where you can go catch fish on docks all day long, every day, twice on Sunday, but you just can't go catch those big fish that you need to have a good bag. Now, if everybody's fishing docks, you're all going to weigh about the same, right? I mean, the guys that fish docks all weighed about the same weight. They all weighed about 6.5 pounds. That fish docks, and I just feel like doing something different, thinking outside that box, is what was able to eventually put that tournament in the win column. Is just being able to think outside that box and do something different. So wanted to share that, guys, to share that with you guys, and just say, don't always think that you have to go to the lake and do the same thing you always do. You know, always think outside the box. Always try to keep changing. Always try to keep looking for new ways to catch fish on your body of water. If you are used to going and fishing brush on your body of water, and that's normally all you do, go find docks. Go see if you can find fish on docks. Look at your marinas. Look at different areas. Look at bluffs. Look for different ways to catch fish. Okay. Think outside that box, and a lot of times you'll still find fish, and you'll even find good fish. So that was kind of the point of the night, was just to try to um, you know get you thinking outside the box a little bit on your own body of water, and tell you what my experience was. So, again, I appreciate all you guys for watching. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. We're going to call it a night tonight. I don't see any more comments. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. I hope everybody is got something to be thankful for this year. Congratulations again to the great grandpa. Congratulations to everybody. And I hope everybody has a great week. Heidi beat me to it. Hope everybody has a great week. Hope you all have a blessed week. We will see you guys again next Wednesday, right here, same place, same time. I will get the video done from the tournament, get that put out for you guys to watch. And I'm going fishing this weekend. Okay. I'm going to go spend some time on the water and see if I can get some more videos. Golly, I got heartburn. I'm going to get some more videos for you guys, and it should be good. It should be fun. So, again, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for all you do for the channel. Appreciate you guys being a part. Don't forget, save some money with those discount codes, and I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. God bless. Happy Thanksgiving again. See you guys later.